Millie Weaver here, reporting for Infowars.com. I'm here in downtown Cleveland, Ohio at Willard Park, one of the designated areas that the city has set aside for people to come and express their First Amendment right to free speech, either to protest or to support Donald Trump. What's alarming about this is that the city is deciding when and where the people can exercise their First Amendment rights to free speech and or to protest. Now, the city has actually issued a 3.3-mile anti-free speech radius zone around the RNC convention out of fears that violence and protests will erupt during the RNC convention. So you guys are pro-Trump people, right?
Yes.
Make America great again.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes. Absolutely.
What do you guys think about the upcoming RNC event and the possibility for maybe riots or violence to go on?
I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think so?
I think people are smarter than that. I think they're going to be ready for it. Police will be ready for it. Whatever security they're going to use, they're not going to screw around with people. They're not going to let that happen. Protesting is one thing. Yeah. You know, civil disobedience is one thing. The rioting and those things are completely different.
What do you think about the city imposing a 3.3-mile anti-free speech zone around the RNC and having designated free speech zones where people can or can either protest or show support for Donald Trump?
I think if we start that, we're just opening up a very large can of worms. You know, where do we stop saying, you're saying this much, where do we go the next time to say this much, but we have a right to speak, everyone does. But in a certain way, you gotta hold your tongue when it comes to being carried away on stuff. Yeah. Yes, we need to have free speech, we have to.
The last thing Cleveland needs would be violence, you know, and make us look bad. So I think it's good that they do that.
Did you hear about the city setting up designated speaking areas and basically saying where you can?
Good. It should be 20 miles down the road.
You think so?
Yeah.
So you think that
We're at the bottom of the river.
You think that the free speech zone should be a 20-mile radius around the RNC?
Why not?
I'm all about free speech, but when it comes to what it has been, with all these protesters coming in just to start a fight,
yeah,
that's all it's gonna be, because the Trump supporters, they'll be doing their thing all fine and everything, but then you have all these Bernie supporters or Hillary supporters coming in just to start a fight.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been. You
make
saw
it
San
physical.
Jose,
Yeah.
where that woman got egged. It'd just be the same thing. And I don't get, like I said, I'm all about free speech, but why do you want to just give gasoline on the fires?
Did you guys hear about the 3.3-mile anti-free speech zone that the city's imposing around the RNC during the event?
Just want peace and no violence. They have the right to demonstrate. They should be able to demonstrate, but no violence.
You know what?
They should be able to be right here. They shouldn't have to be out there.
So you think that they should have the 3-mile radius zone around that people can't be in to protest?
No.
So you think they shouldn't?
I think they should be allowed to protest where they want, as long as they're peaceful and they're organized and not causing people harm.
Have you heard about the city's 3.3-mile anti-free speech zone radius?
I heard about that, and I also heard about some of my favorite restaurants. I'm not going to be able to eat this with knives and forks and spoons and stuff.
Really?
It's only handheld food now, yes.
Wow,
I
so
know.
even the restaurant silverware is getting confiscated?
But not confiscated, it's not allowed to get put out.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I just think in today's day and age, I think the most important thing is safety. And whatever they have to do to keep everybody safe, I think is the best thing to do. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Did you know that some of the restaurants are having to withhold their silverware in this area?
No, I did not. No, I did not know that. No,
Oh.
I didn't know that. That sounds a little ridiculous, but no, I didn't know that.
Did you know that many of the vendors have been being kicked out for 2 weeks, like that sell their hot dogs and their drinks and shirts around here?
No, I didn't know that either. So.
Have you heard about that some of the vendors are being kicked out too? Or actually all of the vendors on the street are being kicked out. They're having to leave for 2 weeks.
No, I didn't hear that.
Did you hear about that some of the restaurants aren't going to be able to issue silverware to their diners?
Nope,
They have
didn't
to
hear
only
that
do
either.
hand foods
Are they afraid they're going to use knives to go and attack people?
during the convention. Yeah. Would you be willing to trade your freedoms for security?
I think you have to balance it. I think you have to be logical and make common sense decisions instead of radical reacting out of fear.
I was very excited about the RNC coming to the city because I think we need a good boost. And then it started to inconvenience me, and I was like, drat. But you know, it is what it is. It's a necessary evil because it goes back to the bad people. You can do stupid stuff with knives and forks, I guess. And
Well, what do you think about the city having the ability to just at will say this area's anti-free speech zone?
Right.
Who's to say next time they couldn't do 10-mile radius or 20-mile radius or 30-mile radius?
well, you want to keep everybody safe. And free speech is a constitutional amendment and guarantee, but it's that free speech that sometimes gets us into problems with inciting a riot. So if you can stop it before it starts, I think that's a good thing.
So would you be willing to have police search your homes before events to make
Not
sure
unless
you
they have
don't
a
have
warrant.
any? Okay, so that's good. So you wouldn't be willing to subject yourself to TSA checkpoints or anything in the name of security, right?
I do every time I fly.
Every time you fly, but would you be willing to do it around the city?
You know, America is very spoiled. I lived overseas a lot, and the security that they have to go through on a daily basis is a direct byproduct of terrorism that's now here in our nation. So those little inconveniences, I mean, I'm not saying we should turn our country into a police state.
Yeah.
That completely not. But if you have to go through security to go to something, or if the city feels safe by not having an opportunity close to the candidates who are, arguably maybe one of the presidents, we want to keep them safe out of harm's way as well.
Did you guys hear about the federal government giving the city a $50 million grant to beef up security
Yeah,
for the event?
I think it's good.
The city has also received a $49.9 million grant from the federal government to beef up security to get ready for the events because they worry that such riots and mayhem may erupt. Did you hear about the city getting that $50 million grant to beef up security for the event
From who?
from the federal government?
No, I didn't. They did that?
Yeah, that's
Good.
what all this construction was about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good. Well, we're from Toledo, so that's why we might not be in as tune as much, but I think anything they can do to keep it clean and organized, they should do it.
But would you be willing to go through a TSA checkpoints just to go around town?
Why not?
Really?
I would. Sure.
You got nothing to hide. What's the big deal?
All right.
Yeah, it might inconvenience you for a while, but I guess it depends on how organized and quick and clean everything is.
Now, again, we don't want it to be a police state. And again, I certainly don't want anyone just being able to
Yeah.
walk into my house at any time. To the same point, I wouldn't expect if I was out of the restaurant to be subject to, a search for anything like that.
What's bizarre is just walking around here, I have seen Department of Homeland Security police vehicles parked all throughout the city. I've seen police vehicles everywhere, and it appears that there's a massive construction project, an overhaul of the Quicken Loans Arena, the Halley building where the actual Republican headquarters is at, and several of these other locations are all under construction right now. One thing I have noticed is that there have been a lot of really suspicious looking people running around wearing RNC badges and AT&T uniforms wearing the RNC badges. I had the opportunity to speak with one of these people, and from what I was able to get out of it, apparently AT&T is being contracted through the Department of Homeland Security in order to beef up security and rewire the whole city to conduct mass surveillance during the RNC convention.
Bad people can go anywhere and do anything. I'm not worried about it, and you see the bike, so I live near here.
Yeah.
I'm not overly concerned.
Yeah.
I served in the military a long time, and a lot of folks went into the CIA, FBI, and I think the city's in good hands.
I've heard Trump I think he was in D.C., tell the people over there, don't hurt any of the protesters. They're a bunch of bikers.
Yeah.
But not once have I heard Hillary say, hey, back down what you're doing. You know, she's probably hiring them to come in, but you haven't heard that. I've not heard that, so.
Is boisterously flaunting their police state readiness for the RNC event.